Have you ever wanted to know what makes a good suburb to undertake a dual occupancy development project in? Well, stick around because in this video, I'm going to share everything you need to consider when choosing a suburb and ultimately a site. I'll also share some of the suburbs I think make sense and some of the suburbs I don't think make sense. Let's get into it. Hey guys, Peter Kelly here from Little Fish Property Developments, helping you maximise the value of your land and generate wealth through low-risk residential development projects. On this channel, we share everything you need to deliver successful projects every time. So if you're new around here, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn the bell notifications on so you don't miss a thing. When it comes to undertaking dual occupancy projects here in Melbourne, there's no question that it's a high-risk, high-reward game. The first and arguably the biggest risk is ensuring you secure the right site to develop. You get this wrong and all your efforts for the duration of the project will be in vain. Number 1, protection overlays. Heritage or vegetation protection overlays will make it more difficult when dealing with council and trying to achieve your approval. Heritage overlays are used to protect sites that have heritage value, meaning that individual buildings or whole urban precincts may be covered. Vegetation overlays are used to protect significant vegetation in the area through the planning scheme. Vegetation includes trees, shrubs, plants, grasses and wetland vegetation and their habitats. It also includes native and exotic vegetation. It's not to say you should never consider developing a site that has a protection overlay. All sites and situations are going to be different and will need to be evaluated on their own merits. It's about being aware of them so you're not caught off guard. Number 2, block dimensions. It's not uncommon for a suburb or areas within suburbs to have the lots cut up the same dimensions. You want to look for suburbs that have the lots cut up in the sizes that lend themselves to the type of development that you're looking to undertake. For side-by-side dual occupancy developments, the ideal street frontage is around 15 plus metres. This gives you enough width to allow for the 2 crossovers, and any bigger is a bonus. It is possible to do a side-by-side on a 12 metre frontage, but will depend on the council you are looking to develop in. Number 3, check the area. There's no substitution for the old-fashioned drive around. Get in your car and familiarise yourself with the area that you're considering undertaking a development. Take note of what is being built and what kind of developments are being approved. Another option is to use the online portals such as Land Checker, where you can use aerial visuals. You can see what's been approved, and portals such as Land Checker also provide other highly relevant data. On a side note, online portals such as Land Checker you may need to pay for. Number 4, sales metrics. When you are looking at a suburb, you need to consider the sale metrics as far as what townhouses are selling for. This will play an important role in helping you understand if a project in your selected area makes sense from a numbers perspective. If townhouses aren't selling for enough on the other end, it will be hard to make a profit. And generally speaking, the raw building costs are going to be similar regardless of area, depending on the specification, of course. So it makes sense to do projects in the areas that you'll see a premium on the other end. For example, if you're looking at a suburb where the purchase price is around $1 million and you build a decent dual lock for somewhere around that 800,000 level and townhouses sell for around the 1.1 million mark, you can instantly see that making a profit is a huge possibility. On the flip side, if you're in a suburb where you can purchase a site for around 600,000, then you build the 2 for around 600,000 and the townhouses are only selling for 600,000 each, means you are around that break-even mark or even losing. There simply isn't enough money to purchase the site, pay the build costs, pay the development costs, and still leave enough profit for it to make sense. So essentially what you're looking for is a nice gap between how much you can purchase the site and build for with relation to how much you can sell the townhouses for at the other end. The key is to not operate too close to the line. If your goal is to make money, it is important that you don't let emotions play a part in your decision making. Whatever decision you end up making needs to be based firmly around facts and numbers. Number 5, supply and demand. You need to consider supply and demand when deciding on a suburb to develop in. From experience, I've found that further you get from the CBD, you're generally going to have a greater supply. A suburb's supply and demand you need to consider carefully. The greater the supply, the harder it will be to sell your townhouses, and by default, it will lower their value. It's not a good place to find yourself in after working hard to deliver your project. You want to be looking at the suburbs with higher buyer demand, which is generally around schools, parks, amenities, transport, shopping centres, villages, medical facilities, dining and entertaining precincts, and sporting facilities. Universities are also good because you have investors looking to purchase properties that they can rent out for a premium. It will be important that you consider where your site is in relation to all these types of amenities. The more of these boxes you can tick, the better. Walking distance to parks, trains, etc. are all big ticks. Once you find a suburb you are comfortable with, you begin to do your due diligence on specific sites. There are a number of other variables you need to consider, which you can check out another video I've previously done. The link's just here. Now, I know what you all want, some kind of definitive list of the best suburbs to undertake a dual occupancy townhouse project in Melbourne. Unfortunately, it isn't that simple because it can be somewhat of a moving target. But as always, I like to get you heading in the right direction, which brings me to number 6, experience. From my own experience, dual occupancy projects stack up best within that inner band of Melbourne. As a general rule, the further you get out from the CBD, the less likely the numbers will stack up for your development. Based on all the criteria pointed out throughout this video, coupled with a ton of experience, some of the suburbs I find make sense include Carnegie, Thornbury and Newport. And some suburbs I don't feel work as well would be Hoppers Crossing, South Morang and Pakenham. Ultimately though, selecting the right suburb is very fluid. It's a consistent moving target, so it's important that you do your own research. Finding the right site is not only the first step of the process, but perhaps the most important as well. That's a wrap, guys. Hopefully you're getting a ton of value from these training videos. We love making them, so if you have any questions or topics that you'd like us to tackle, please put them down in the comments below. And of course, if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do and turn the bell notifications on so you don't get left behind. I'm Peter Kelly. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy developing.